everybody. Just a second here. I'm trying to get my sound turned down on my tablet. I must have turned it up. And it's working tonight, which is good. So how is everybody tonight? It's kind of a nice day. I've been inside working all day, though. So got a few people coming in. Second here, let me get the comments turned over. So hello. Hello. Whoops. I don't know why this is. Oh, here we go. my tablet's freaking out over here. Oh, it's Deb. Hi, Deb. Hi, Teresa. People are finding me. Yeah, I like to try to get on right at 6, and then I know it takes a little bit for everybody to kind of find me. The notifications for Facebook sometimes aren't the best. So hi, everybody. So there's a few of you that are coming up just as Facebook user. So just so you know, if you go to this video after class, if you go click the little link on the video underneath there, it'll let StreamYard see your names. And it's just me that'll be able to see them. So if you do that, then I can see your names right on StreamYard. Otherwise, I can see your names over here on my tablet. So for those of you who have not done that, do that after class if you don't mind. Hi, everybody. I'm starting to get. I can see stuff over here now. So how is everybody today? I think I spent the afternoon making the video for Home is Where the Haunt Is. So we're going to do a couple of live videos like we did before, and then a couple of pre-recorded ones. So I pre-recorded one this afternoon, got some blocks done, and then I will do another one next weekend probably, because it takes a little while, So turn the banner off. And let's see. So this week we're going to work on one of the little the little square bench buddy for July. And it's so cute. And this one was really fun to make. So this one is what we're going to do. And we're going to make some of these little flowers, right? Got some little rolled roses and some little daisies. We made the daisies last week. And then we're going to make this little pinwheel too. So I did a little bit of pre-sewing. We're going to sew part of the jar, and we're going to trim the block, and then we'll trim this block too. And then we'll do, I'll walk you through some of these other things. Rainy in Ohio. Yep. Not sure who said that. Oh, Barb. So anyway, this is what we're going to work on tonight. And we'll put it together and everything. This was a fun one. I think I've got different fabric maybe for part of this one. So, but anyway, we're going to work on this, and let's go ahead. And I think people are finding us. So we'll go ahead and get started here. So, okay. So what I did, and then I'm also I had somebody ask if I could show you what you need for the embossing class next week. So actually physically show you what I'm using. So I brought those up. So we'll look at that at the end. Okay. Because we're going to make the card, and you need some embossing stuff. That's heat embossing. So I'll hold them up so you can see what I'm talking about. So if you have never done that before, so I'm pretty new at it. So I had to learn what all this stuff is too. Oh, yeah. You can turn off the closed caption. If you don't like that, who said that? Denise. So at the end, at the bottom, Denise, there's a like at the bottom of the picture, there's going to be a thing that says CC. You can turn that off if you don't like it. Okay. So yeah, just turn it off at the bottom. Then you don't have to see it, because it just kind of automatically turns on. I think they defaulted as turning on now. So I don't know why they do that, but that's just the way they do it. Okay. So we are going to make this little pillow. So let's talk about what we need here. I'm going to turn my camera down over here. And a second here. Get the camera and the microphone turned over. Can you still hear me, hopefully? Okay. All right, so let's take a look at what we need for this one. And I have pre-sewn just a little bit of this so you didn't have to sit through all the leaves and everything, because there's quite a little bit of leaves, and then there's a little piece of applique. So we'll do that together. Okay, so for the center piece of this, we need this blue fabric. I've got this blue fabric. The background is 6.5 by 10.5. And then I put a piece of the shape flex on the back. So I'll turn it over so you can, I don't know if you can see it very well. There's a piece of shape flex on the back of it, okay, for the background. And then there's a little piece of applique for the jar. So I had some kind of gray or silver fabric, and that's for the jar. And you need, so we're going to make the little stripes for, let me grab a couple things here. Got some stuff setting up in front of me here, so just a second. So there's going to be some little stripes for the front, so that we have red and white stripes. And there's 4 that are 1.5 by 6. And I already pre-sewed mine together, so I was just going to show you how to trim them. You didn't need to sit there and watch me sew all these little pieces together. So you're going to have red and white stripes that are 1.5 by 6, or 1.5 by 6. Okay. So you need 1, 2, 3. There are 4 of each one. 4 whites and 4 reds. Okay. So, and I already sewed mine together. What hoop size are we using? I am using a 5 by 7. Yep. So Shannon asked what size. So yeah, 5 by 7. Okay. So then you need a couple of backs for the pillow. So here's my backs. Okay. And I pre-hemmed them. You know, we take one of the long sides and we just turn it over 1/4 inch and another 1/4 inch and hem it down. So this is going to be another one of those little envelope backs. Okay. So I have those all pre-hemmed, and then I pre-sewed these together. Okay. And then you're going to need some, let's see, you're going to need some buttons. And I sewed together a couple of our little flowers. We did the little daisy flowers last time. So these are the same, but they're just white instead of yellow. Okay, so you're going to need some buttons for your daisies. We'll do one in class. So here's a couple of my daisies with their little buttons sewn in the middle. Okay, and then you need another button for your pinwheel. So this one I did a little red and white button to put in the middle of my pinwheel. So I'll put these back in here so I won't lose them. They're kind of small. And then you need your felt for your flowers. Now I already cut mine out because remember we did this with the scan and cut the other day. So we're going to make a daisy flower, and I'll talk you through how to make them if you don't have a scan and cut, because you can just do them the way they have them in the instructions. And then here's the ones for the roses. Okay. And those are red. And then I'll show you how to roll these, and then we'll glue them together. And this works the greatest for, so I needed to find like a quilling tool for felt. So I found these reverse action straight tweezers. Aren't those awesome? And this works really well for rolling these flowers. Okay, so we're going to roll some more flowers for something else later this fall. So anyway, that's one of the things you'll want to get. You can get it done without it, but it is a lot easier with the tweezers. Okay, and then let's see, we needed the felt, got that on there. Oh, and then a piece of clear vinyl, because the jar has the clear vinyl on it. Okay, so that is all the little pieces here. You lay these up here so I won't lose anything. And then you need a little piece for your little pinwheel. So here's my pinwheel. You need some white felt for the pinwheel, and then you need a little piece of I use this kind of little greenish mint colored fabric. And then we're going to use a bobbin. We're going to use matching embroidery thread in the bobbin for the pinwheel. Okay, so this is the pinwheel. We'll sew that out too. So I've got that in a 4x4 hoop. So you'll need 2 hoops tonight. Okay, a second, let me put this out of the way here and put this up here so I won't lose it. Okay. So the first piece is going to be the center of the pillow with the little flower stems. So we're going to sew the flower stems, and then we're going to put the jar on the bottom. Okay. Hi, everybody. People are still saying hi. Okay, so now this is done in the 5x7 hoop. So as usual, I have chosen a tearaway stabilizer, and I took my piece of fabric that was 6.5 by 10.5, and I took my fabric glue stick and glued it down to the center of my tearaway stabilizer, and then hooped everything roughly in the center. Okay, so that's what I've done here in my 5x7 hoop for the center of my pillow. All right, so we've done this lots of times now, so I think everybody's kind of got that part figured out. Okay, so then what I did, so let's go ahead and get the next part over here. Whoops, I'm going to lose my book here. I'm going to go ahead and put this in the machine, and I'm going to bring up my design. Haven't got it up here yet. I've been working on the other ones this afternoon, so I didn't bring it back up again. Whoops, wrong folder. Let's see, July. And here's the jar. Okay. Okay. So what I have done is I have sewn out the first few steps. So we'll just talk about those, we'll just talk through them. Okay. So the first step is these little jar details. And I did those in silver. And I'll tell you what colors of thread I used tonight. There weren't too many. I used my number 1005, or I'm sorry, 005 silver, 800 red, 027 fresh green, 1092 forest green. So there was a light green and a dark green, and then black. Okay. So that's the ones I used tonight. But I just did a little pre-sewing because this took a little while with all these leaves and everything, and you don't need to sit here and watch the machine sew. All right, so the first step in the instructions, and this is on number 2 on page 3 of the instructions. This is the little detail for the jar, and I did those in silver. Okay. Step number 2 in the machine is let me pull this out so you can see it better, is the stems, and I used the darker green, so that mine was the forest green for the stems. Okay, so that was step number 2. Step number 3 are the leaves, right here and right here. Now, the first one I chose to do this one in the darker color, but I liked the lighter color better, so I actually did both sets of leaves in the same color. I did them in the lighter so you could see them a little bit better. Okay. And then this little piece here is the straw for the pinwheel. So I did that in red. Okay, so that's what that is. So these were the leaf stems, the leaves, or the flower stems, the leaves, and then this is the straw, and the little pinwheel goes on that. So I did that one in red. Okay, so does everybody understand where I'm at so far? So for the first how many steps? 5 steps were all just sewing. So I'm going to start on step number 6 in your machine. So give me a second here. I just need to get to step number 6. So I'll show you what I'm doing. I'm just going to go fast forward here. Hit the negative positive needle button down here. And I'm going to go down to step number 6. I'm looking up here so I can see what step I'm on. Okay. And I'm going to go to step number 6. So there's my... Yeah, so here's 5 was my straw, and here's step number 6. Okay, so then we're getting ready to do the jar. Okay, so this is the applique part. And the one thing that they do say for the jar is use the same colored thread for the tack down stitch that you plan to use for the decorative stitch, because everything's going to show through, because this is clear vinyl. So I'm going to use silver is what color I'm going to use. So we're going to start on step 6 on your machine, number 7 in the instructions. So I'm going to put my silver in. And I cleaned my machine out. When I was working this afternoon on the videos, my machine decided to have a little hiccup. So I hope it sews better tonight than it did earlier today. So otherwise it may get to go see Ron for a spa day. All right, so we're the first step number 6, that is where we're going to start, and that is going to be the placement line for the jar. And that's going to be that clear plastic, the clear vinyl. Okay, so I've got this ready. It's just going to give us a placement line. The second I'm still going. The second my tablet is having an issue, so just a moment here. It says I'm live. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. My tablet is just being weird. Okay, well, hopefully it'll keep working here. Otherwise, I can see your comments over here, and I just can't see who they are from. All right, so I've got my jar placement line, okay? And then we're going to, let me turn the page here. We're going to put our vinyl down. And if there's any jump stitches in here, make sure you've trimmed them. So I left one because I always have like a little tail. Make sure you trim everything, because anything that's under the plastic won't it'll be there. So just make sure you don't have anything under the plastic you don't want. Okay, I think this is good. This has got a little bit of a tail here, so we'll trim that a little bit. I always have these little tails. So there we go. Okay, so make sure there's no lint or any jumps or anything. Then we're going to lay the vinyl over the line. Okay, so this line, we're going to lay this vinyl down. Make sure you got don't have cat hair under your vinyl. That's the other thing I have to look for, is cat hair. I'm holding it up to the light to see if I got all the cat hair out of it. Okay. And then I'm going to lay this down over that placement line. Okay. No, somebody asked about the Mylar. No, because the Mylar, with Mylar, you got to have a trapping stitch to hold it. Otherwise, it will all come out. The Mylar is not strong enough to hold. So you would have to have a trapping stitch over the top to hold that in there, Shannon. So no, you need to use clear vinyl. Okay. All right. So then step number 7 in the machine is going to be the tack down line. Okay, to hold this down. So now I'm going to leave my silver in for this, and it's going to sew and it's going to do kind of a triple stitch. And it's going to tack down my vinyl. Could have been just my needle this afternoon, too. All right, so there's that. So then, of course, the next step is going to be, we need to trim the vinyl. And you want to leave your vinyl about 1/8 of an inch away or so from the edge, because this is like raw edge applique, so there's one more little piece that it does over the edge, the top there. So okay, so now we're going to trim the vinyl, but just don't get too close, because you don't want your vinyl to rip. So give me a second here. I got to put my glasses on for the vinyl. I never can see the edge well enough without my glasses on. So all right. So we're going to trim this, and then try to stay as about 1/8 of an inch away, and also try to keep it as smooth as possible. Now, the other thing is, when we get ready to press this and sew it together, be very careful, because this vinyl melts. Ask Jan how she knows, because I have melted multiple blocks and had to do them over again. So it does happen. I usually do it when I'm sewing the quilt together, or sewing something together, because I get all excited it's almost done, and then I melt my vinyl. So you have to be careful with vinyl. Okay, so I'm going around. I'm staying about 1/8 of an inch away. And can you see how I'm kind of tipping my scissors towards me? Yeah, I really like the blue black background too. This is a Kimberbell fabric. This is one of my favorite ones. I like these ones that have the little lines in it. And I think this fabric came out originally with the make yourself at home quilt, but I think they've put them in the basic line now because you can still get them. Okay, so there's my vinyl jar. So see, now I have a jar. Okay, let's see what the next step is. So the next step I think is going to be, we're going to do the top of the jar and put this little applique on. And so I use black for that. And this is going to be also raw edge applique. So this one will ravel just a little bit, but I'm going to use black thread to put it down so you can see the detail a little bit better. So we'll do this one. We'll do all the embroidery first, and then we'll do the sewing. So we'll skip over and we'll do the little pinwheel too. All right, oops, there we go. So we're going to do the placement line first for that, and I'm going to do it in my black thread. All right, so here's our placement line for the little jar top. And this is going to have, this is going to be raw edge, but it has some detail around it. So that's why I chose black, because then you can see it better. Okay, so here our placement line's right here. And we're just going to lay that over the placement line. They don't have too many grays, so they only had a couple. I think my other one had a different gray on it. Sure, I got this all covered up here. Yep. All right. So then the next step is going to tack this down. Give me a second here to, there we go. Is going to tack this down and do the detail. Just going to hold it here so it won't scoot on that vinyl. And this is the last step for the center. The center was really quick, but most of this one was embellishments that we're going to do later. And putting it together was really easy. So. And this is step number 9 in the machine and step number 13 in your instructions. And I put in great big letters, be careful with the iron. So remind me of that when I get up to iron this, will you? Which I'm going to have to do in a minute. I just went and wiggled my iron. So there's the detail for the top of the jar. And then we're going to trim this one fairly close to the stitches. I like to stay about 1/8 of an inch away because it is going to fray just a little bit. Okay, so then we're going to trim this one too. We're all done with the stitching. And we're going to trim this one too. Close to the stitches. I'm going to stay about 1/8 of an inch away. Like that. Oops. And be careful that that vinyl is underneath the bottom of this. Just be careful that you don't catch your vinyl and stick your scissor tip into it. There. All right, so there is our jar. So that's the whole center of the pillow. Isn't that fun? So that was really easy. Most of it's sewing, and then we just do a little bit of applique at the end. So that was a really easy one. So what this one was about was the embellishments. So the embellishments are really fun. So now we get to do all the fun stuff. So I'm going to take this out of the hoop, and I'm going to set this aside, and give me just a second. I'm just going to press the edges of it so that it's flat. Again, be very careful of your vinyl. I just like to press this just a little bit so that it is flat along the edges. So when we get ready to trim it, okay? So we'll trim it here in a little bit. So I'm going to set this one aside. for now. And then we're going to talk about the embellishments. So I have already cut out with my scan and cut and the rotary blade my roses. But let's talk about how you would do this if you don't have a scan and cut. You would hoop a piece of red felt only, just the felt, okay? You would bring up the roses pattern and you would just stitch out the stitching, just like the little daisies last week. And then you're going to take your scissors and you're going to cut along that sewing line on both roses. There's 2 roses. You can do one in both of them in a 5x7 hoop, or you can do 2 of them. You can do them individually in a 4x4. They give you both options. Okay. So this is another one of those that you just sew it out. If you don't have a scan and cut and you haven't got them all sewn out already, you just sew them. Okay. And you cut them out with the scissors. Okay, so I already have mine cut out and I did mine in the scan and cut, and you saw that video a few weeks ago. So that's my little flowers ready to roll. Okay. Okay. So there are the roses. So that one's very easy. It's just one step. Okay. And then the same thing, and we're going to roll these in a second. So I'll show you this at the end. And then the other pattern that we're going to do tonight has the little daisies in it. So I'm going to go get that pattern right now, because we do need to sew out the little pinwheel. And because we're not going to sew the daisies out, I've already got those cut out with my scan and cut. But let's go get the other little pattern here. I'll show you the roses one too. So that's pretty basic. Let's see. Whoops, skipped it. There it is. I always hit the directions. I don't know why. There we go. All right, so here's July. And then we're going to go get, so here's the pattern. So if you have a smaller hoop, you can do individual roses in a 4x4. And then here's the 2 in the 5x7. So if you want to do them both together. And then this one is going to be the little daisies and the pinwheel. Okay, so we're going to choose that one because we need to do the pinwheel. I'm going to set that one. And that one's also in a 4x4 hoop. Okay, so I'm going to grab my 4x4 hoop here. And we're going to hoop just the, hi Cindy. We're going to hoop just the white felt. That's all it's in here is white felt. Just like we did for the roses, that would have been red felt. This is the white felt. Okay. Oops. And then, give me a second here. The other thing I'm going to do is I am going to, of course, I already cut out my little daisies with my scan and cut. So I'm going to skip that part, but you would do the same thing with the daisies. If you don't have a scan and cut, you would just sew those out with the thread and then cut around them with a pair of scissors. Okay, so that's the first step in this design. But I'm going to skip that tonight. So here's my daisies that I cut out with my scan and cut. Okay, so we'll put one of these together tonight. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fast forward through the daisies since I don't, whoops, need to go down here. So I'm going to do the pinwheel. Okay, so I do need to stitch that out, and we're just going to cut that out like it says. So the first thing we're going to do with the pinwheel is we're going to change our bobbin thread to matching thread in the bobbin to the top. So I'm going to do mine in red. So I got my red bobbin here. So I'm going to put I put in red embroidery thread on my bobbin. And put that in, and then I'm going to get my red thread here. So this is a real easy one. And this is just going to be raw edge applique. Okay. Oops. Get my red in here. And then we're going to put in my little 4x4 hoop. And we got a little piece of applique fabric that we need. So that's that little green piece. And what it says to do first, let me hit OK. It says to change the thread to red, and says change the bobbin thread to red and stitch the pinwheel placement line. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. And I just have white felt in here. Is all I have in my hoop. And if you didn't have the scan and cut, you would have done the same thing with just regular bobbin thread in the bobbin and sewn your little daisies at the top, okay? Pinwheel's not very big. Okay, so this is my placement line, but before we do anything else, I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to, since this is going to be raw edge, I'm going to trim up these little tails on the back, because otherwise they look messy on the back. So I'm just going to trim up those little tails on the back before I do the rest. Okay. The next step will be, since it's a placement, we're going to lay our piece of fabric over that little placement line. I'm going to leave the red thread in. And the next step, step number 3, is going to be the tack down line for the little pinwheel. So this is pretty simple. We're going to put that little piece on there. And then we're just going to stitch this out again, and then we're going to trim this. Out with the scissors. Okay, so this one we do have to trim out with the scissors. And if you didn't have the scan and cut, you would have also done your flowers this year. I couldn't figure out a way to do this one with the scan and cut, so I just sewed it out and trimmed it. So I got my little scissors out here that I'm going to trim this out. Okay, so it says remove the project from the hoop and then cut to separate the pinwheel and the daisies, which I just have the pinwheel. Okay. And then what does it say to do? It says to, trim your daisies out. So if you don't have your scan and cut, you just trim around the little daisy stitches. Okay, and then I'm going to put the daisy together here in a minute. And then we're going to cut the felt and fabric about 1/8 of an inch away from the stitching. And then we're going to cut in between the little sections right here. Okay, so we'll take this out. We're going to trim about 1/8 of an inch away from the fabric. And again, this is just going to be raw edge, so this will fray a little bit. So I'm going to trim here, just trim all around and make a square. Okay, get this one. Get this side. All right, so once we get it in square, then we're going to go down through those little middle sections. Is that about right? Go down through these little sections here, because then we're going to make this into a pinwheel. So just trim down right through the middle. Like that. These two pillows from last week and this week, most of it, there wasn't a lot of sewing on it, but there was a lot of embellishments, wasn't there? Cute embellishments on these, so they were fun. All right, do this side, and then I'm also going to go to the back, and I'm going to trim off any tails that are hanging out back here, like that. I must have a piece of thread in my upper tension is what I'm guessing. I might have to take my machine to see Ron on Tuesday. Okay, that looks pretty good. All right, so there's our little pinwheel all trimmed out. Okay, so what I did now, I'm terrible with pinwheels, just so you know. I have a hard time with pinwheels because I always seem to put them together backwards, because I think it's because I'm left-handed. So I always choose the wrong side. So I'm going to try to look at the picture and get it right. As long as you skip every other one, I don't think it matters which way the pinwheel goes. Mine always seem to go the opposite direction, but I think it's because I'm left-handed. Okay, so what I'm going to do, now they tell you to sew this, but you know Jan doesn't sew these things. Jan uses hot glue. So I'm going to go ahead and just put a little dab of hot glue in the center here of my pinwheel, maybe. Second, I need to push my stick in. You don't need very much, okay? All right. Then I'm going to put in one corner, like this. Try not to burn yourself. So I'm just going to put a corner in. I think I got it okay. Like this, okay? And then I'm going to do another corner. You have to kind of go every other corner like this. And I'm going to try to put the one that has the knot right here, knot on the top. That's my goal, is to put that one knot on the top. So I'm going to put another little dot of glue in the middle here and pull in another corner. You have to skip every other corner. And like I said, it may or may not be the opposite of the way the way it shows in the book, but like I said, I always seem to get these backwards, and I have never, I think it's just because I'm left-handed. I think I just pull the opposite corners. Okay, we're going to get another one here. It was cute. Dad was watching me, and he kept falling asleep. So he went to sit in his chair because he was about to fall off of his walker. So he was out here watching me. Okay, so there's that one. Got one more to do. So I'm just kind of pulling those in. Okay. Second, I got, and one more right here. Like that. Pull that one down. And like I said, I tried to put the little tip that had the knot in it underneath so it wouldn't show. There. So did I get it the way that they had it? No, see, mine's always the opposite, but it's okay. It doesn't matter which way it goes. Mine's the exact opposite of the picture. And I think every one that I've done is like that. I have to be so careful to get it the other way, and I just think it's because I'm left-handed. I always do everything the opposite. Okay. So there's my little pinwheel. Okay. It's the exact opposite as the picture. Isn't it cute? And then, of course, you know, they're telling you to sew all this, and you can sew this if you want to. I just don't, you know, I always use hot glue. So I'm going to, show you how I'm going to finish this. I got to get my daisies out of the package here. So there are, they put a little button in the center of it, and I wanted it to look like I sewed it on. So what I did is I took, you know, I always do this. I don't know if you can see it. Okay. I take a little thread and I just put it in the eyes of the button so that it looks like it's been sewed, and then I'm just going to glue it on. Okay. So we'll glue this on too in the center. I mean, it looks fine, but it's not the same as the picture. It's the opposite. So I think it's just because I'm left-handed. It looks fine. I know my other one's like this too. Okay, so now I just put another little dot of glue, and I'm going to put the button down in the center like that. Okay. It looks just fine. Got a little tail there I need to trim off, but there's my button in the center. Isn't that cute? I got a little ravel here that needs to come off though. What's that? Whoops. There. Okay. So there's the little pinwheel. Isn't that cute? It's very simple. But I like to use the hot glue. And if you want to sew it, you can sew it. I usually do hot glue for that kind of stuff. So, okay, so there's my little pinwheel. All right. So let me put this over here for a second. And let's see, I think let's go ahead and, since we did the pinwheel, let's go ahead and make the flowers. And then we'll do the sewing, okay? So let's go ahead and make the flowers now. So I already made a couple of the little daisies. And these are the same as the ones we made last time. They're just white instead of yellow. Okay, so here's two. I got two of them done already. Now these I do hand sew. This is really the easiest way to do this. So I have threaded my needle with some white thread. And here's my little daisy I cut out. And I'm just going to go about an eighth to a quarter of an inch along the straight edge. And I'm just going to do a little gathering stitch along there. See if I can. I'm not a very good hand sewer, so don't mind me, guys. And of course, I'm left-handed, so I'm going from left to right. Hopefully, I'm sure you'll understand. It's very hard for people that are right-handed to teach me how to do anything hand sewing. I used to take doll classes, and a lot of the stuff was hand sewn, and everybody really struggled because I have to sit in front of people, and I usually can get it figured out, but it is hard when you're left-handed, when you're trying to be taught by a right-handed person to do hand stuff. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to find where I started down here on this side, and I'm going to put my needle through there. Okay, oop, there's my fly again. He's been bothering me all afternoon. And then I'm going to pull this tight, this little flower. Okay, so I got it pulled tight. And then I'm going to tie this little end off down here. See if I can get it before I let go. Okay. And lots of times what I do with these little flowers then is I'll take a stitch on the back through the center and just kind of pull the center together a little bit. So I'm going to go through this way and just pull the center together a little bit. And then go through the opposite way, just to kind of pull the centers together a little. Okay, and then I'm going to put my button on. So there we go. So it kind of pulls it together. And then I'm going to go ahead and sew my little button on. So I got this little yellow button to sew on here. This is one of the little, I love those little Kimberbell buttons with the little polka dots on them. So it's one of those. So I'm going to, oops, pull that in the center. Because I haven't really found any better way to do this than just to do it with a needle and thread. These are awfully cute. Okay, so then we're going to sew this one together. Go down through the hole here. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. There we go. Oops. See if I can get it to stay for me. There we go. I did laundry today. I even cooked lunch today. We had chicken and rice for lunch. It was good. All right, so I'm going to go up through here a few times. And there's our little flower. We got 3 little daisies, and I'll show you how to do the roses next. The roses are really, I love rolling roses. So we're going to do something, and Kimberbell did like a little thing with their spring quilt that they did some rolled roses. And they were all embroidered, and you had to cut them all out with scissors. So I found some rose dies, and we're going to do something similar to that. But I'm going to show you my little die cutting machine. It's really fun to use the die cutting machine. It's so much easier to make the roses that way than it is to have to cut them all out and with scissors or whatever. So there we go. So there's my little daisy. Isn't that cute? I'll go ahead and take the needle off of here. So we got the daisy, we got the pinwheel, got 3 little daisies, got the pinwheel. So now we're going to work on the roses. And the roses are really easy. Okay, so there's the little daisies, and we'll hot glue those on at the end. I usually hot glue them on after I put the little pillow form in to make sure everything works right. And I don't have another pillow form, so I'll have to show you my other one where I did it. Okay. So there's the 3 little daisies. Here's the little pinwheel. Okay. All right. Then let's look at our little roses. So here's the roses. Now this is what worked well for me. Is like I said, I got these are called reverse action straight tweezers, and I needed something that was sort of like a quilling tool to get these to roll better, because I had a heck of a time with them rolling them by hand, because they just tell you to go like this and take your finger and go like this and roll them. Okay, so that didn't work too well for me because I'm used to using a pinwheel or using a quilling tool. So I'm just going to go. This is the bottom. This is going to be the end of it, and we're gonna glue it, the flap on at the end. So we're going to go down here in the little center, and I'm just going to grab this with my tweezers. Okay, and I'm just going to start rolling, and see, it's just like a quilling tool. And you want the ones that are reverse action, because you don't want to have to try to hold them shut while you're trying to do this. See, these stay shut unless I push them open. So these are the reverse action ones, and you should be able to find these. I got these at a crafting store, but you should be able to find some. I think they maybe have them at Joann's in the jewelry department. Check the jewelry departments too. So we're just going to roll these little roses up. Okay. Now when I get to the end, I have to squeeze it a little bit to open it up. Okay, and I want these to be nice and flat on the bottom, see? And then this little flapper is going to be the bottom of the rose. So give me just a second here. I got to get it all kind of organized. And then we're going to take some hot glue. And really, the hot glue works the best with these. When I use paper, I use paper glue. So we're going to use this. Give me a second here. I got to grab my glue gun again. And we're just going to put some glue on the bottom of this. You will need a little bit more because you want it to kind of all go along the bottom there. And then I'm going to lay this little flap down in the glue and squeeze it so that it squeezes nice and flat. There we go. Isn't that cute? So there's one little rose. Isn't that cute? I got strings on me, so there we go. I think I need to move my flapper a little bit. No, I think it's okay. There we go. All right, so there's my little rose. Isn't that cute? So we got one. All right, and then we're going to do the second one. Second, I got to get the glue off of me. I'm going to do the same thing. Going to grab my little tweezers. Isn't that neat? Yeah, I mean, and these work great too. The little tweezers work great. So you just kind of grab it in the center and start turning it. Because my quilling tool, the slot's too narrow for the felt, and I bought a bunch of dies for felt flowers. I've got like 4 more felt flower dies, and they're a little more detailed than this, and they're so pretty that I want to make something with that. So, and I'll show you a little bit about like die cutting, because die cutting is really fun. You can get dies for some of the die cutting machines. Mine are all Sizzix dies, so if you have AccuQuilts, it won't work in there, but they might have some dies possibly for felt flowers too. I don't know. I'll have to go look on their website. All right, so I got that one turned. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and get ready to put the little flap down here. But it really works better with the tweezers, because then it easier to hang. It gives you something to hang on to too, like that. What do you think? There's the little flowers. They're so cute. There's our little flowers. Oh, you mean the tweezers? Look for you'll want to look up reverse action straight tweezers. You should be able to find some that look just like this. Now these are from Spellbinders. I got these at Scrap Mania in Cedar Rapids, because they use them for scrapbooking too. But I got these there. But these are really nice ones. And then, but you want the ones that are reverse action, so you don't have to hold them shut. it's really hard to turn. I got some straight ones, but I had to hold them shut, and it was hard to turn and hold them shut at the same time. So these are great because they stay shut until I open them. Okay. All right, so there's our little flowers. We got our little roses done. All right, so now we're ready to do some sewing. I'm going to trim first, and then we're going to do some sewing. Okay. So let me get this glue gun out of the way here. And I'm going to move the camera over so you can see me trim. So we're going to trim our center block first, and then we'll have to trim the little stars and stripes, the little stripes that we did. Give me a second. I'm going to make this into a sewing machine, so it'll move the bar over. There you go. It's easier to see. I can get the camera closer. All right. Put this over here, and then we will do the trimming for the jar first. Okay. Give me a second here. I got to stand up and move my chair out of the way a little bit. Okay. All right. So this is our, I remember I pressed this a little bit. Be very careful for the vinyl so that you don't get your vinyl hit it with the iron by accident, because I do that all the time. Let me get this out, push this back out of my way. Okay. So this one says to trim it. It says measure down 1/2 inch from the bottom of the jar. Place the 6.5 by 8.5 inch orange pop ruler along that line. Okay, so we need to measure down 1/2 inch from the bottom of the jar. So I'm going to take my little ruler here, and I'm going to measure down 1/2 inch from my, see if I can find my white chalk pencil. There we go. So we're going to measure down 1/2 inch from the bottom of the jar, it says. I think I got it pretty straight. And here's the 1/2 inch from the bottom of the jar. Hopefully you can see that. Yep. All right, so there's my 1/2 inch line from the bottom of the jar. Yep. Then it says you're going to put the 6.5 by 8.5 inch ruler along that line, aligning the inside of the ruler to the 1/2 inch mark. So this is the bigger ruler. Oops, helps if I turn it right side up. And that's going to be along that line that we just drew. Okay. Then it says nest the 4.5 by 6.5 inch one inside that ruler. So I'm going to put this one inside of it. Okay. Now mine, let's see here. Make sure it looks pretty cool. They're pretty even, but you've got like this, you've got a little leaf that, or the stem that's kind of sticking out over here. So you want to make sure that this is about equal on both sides. So the jar does appear to be slightly to the left. Okay. Let's see here. If we got, make sure we didn't move this. They're 1/2 inch. That looks pretty good. I don't think my fabric was very straight, was it? That's normal for me. Okay, I'm gonna put this one in. Okay. Then it says cut the sides of the block, not the bottom. Okay, and then we're gonna, because it's gonna be narrower and longer. Okay, so we're going to make sure this looks even. So I'm looking at this piece here is this one that's sticking out, and this piece here. So that looks pretty even on both sides. It does appear that the vase is slightly to the left, but it's just the way the vase is shaped, the jar. Okay. I think that looked pretty good. I think it looks pretty straight. I think that looks pretty straight. So then we're going to do the sides first, because we want it to be 4.5. It's going to end up being 4.5 by 8.5. Okay, so I'm going to slide it this way. Remember, I'm left-handed, so I'm going to start on the right here, and I'm going to do these side panels. I'm going to switch it over this way. And do this side. Okay. Then I'm going to take the little one out. Okay. And then we're going to do the bottom and the top. And we want that white line, that we drew. Okay. That's where that is. And then we're going to turn it around and do this side. It's amazing how many sizes they actually can get with these orange populars. There's just a few of them, and they're there's not that many sizes, but you can mix and match and get different sizes. So okay, so here is our block, and we need to get these trimmed on the sides yet. We have to match the lines. So I'm going to have to use this other ruler. I have a hard time doing this. This is my hardest thing to do, is to get the corners to match. Let's see here, I'm sticking to my vinyl a little bit. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to do this. Oops. Meet my corners here. Okay, and then do this side. So this is going to be 4.5 by 8.5. It's kind of long and skinny in the middle. Let's see here, how did I do? You get it? Yep, there we go. There's that side. Okay. Must have had a little spot that didn't cut on the top here. Oops. Because it's going to come off. Maybe not. Need a new blade. All right. So there is our little jar. And it looks pretty good. And then I'm going to take my paper off the back. I'm going to take my stabilizer off the back now. I just had the one piece on it. I like to trim it with the stabilizer on so that it stays nice and flat when I'm trimming. Sometimes the edges get a little bit curvy if you take it off, so I like to leave it on while I'm trimming. I'll take this off. Get as much of it off as you can. I'll leave it on inside the jar there, so. Okay. That looks pretty good. All right, so there's our jar. Got that trimmed, okay? Because see, this, what I was looking at was here and here. So this little piece up here sticks out. So it looks a little bit weird, but when you put it together, it looks fine. Because my other one was like that too, see? My other one was like that too, that the jar is kind of over to the left a little bit. So it'll be fine. Okay. Then we're going to we need to do a little more trimming. So I already pre-sewed these. So let's turn the page here. And I sewed my little strips together, the little red and white stripes, because it's going to have red and white stripes on it. And so I already sewed these together. And I'm going to, and with a 1/4 inch seam. So I used my Q02 and I sewed these all together. So then I'm going to take and I'm going to straighten up one side. Okay. And I press these also down. So I press the seams. Okay. So I'm going to choose one side and I'm going to straighten up the side. And there's plenty here, so don't be worried. A couple of these, once when they did this before, there was just barely enough, so you really couldn't straighten it. So this time they gave you more to straighten it. So I'm going to use my seams to help me straighten this side up. It isn't too bad. This side is actually pretty straight. So I'm just going to trim off the edges. I think I'll be okay. And then we're going to trim this down to 2.5 inch strips, because that's what's going to be on either side. So I'm going to do 2.5 inches. Let's see, they're pretty straight. I think they're pretty straight. Like that. So there's 2, and you're going to have a little piece left over. Okay, so there's 2.5, 1, 2.5. Yep. So we'll do one here. Maybe. Like I said, I need a new blade. There's one, and then we're going to do the second one. 2.5. 1, 2.5. Okay. You're going to have a little piece left over down here, so that's fine. All right. So there's our two little strips that we're going to put on either side of the center panel. Okay. All right. So now we're down to the sewing part. So let me move this over again, and then we'll do the sewing. We're just about done. This was a really fun one. This was one of my I think all of them are my favorites, but this one was really fun to do. I liked the little stripes on the side. I thought it was so cute. And all the little flowers on it. Okay, so we're going to make the machine a sewing machine now. Get my glasses out of the way. Find my foot controller under my feet. Here. Okay. Then, let's see here. Need to put my foot on, don't I? It probably helps if I have my sewing foot on. Do my sewing foot and some, I think I'll use red thread. I've got red thread up here, so that'll work. My high-tech tool here, I'm going to use my nickel to take my foot off. All right. Put this on. I've got some cotton thread up here. I think I'll just use, I'll just use red because I use red for the back. So this is red Pima cotton thread. And then I got a bobbin up here. I had a wind a bobbin. I was about out of bobbin thread, so didn't figure you'd want me to have to wind a bobbin in front of all of you tonight. Okay, get this. Okay, so here is our two pieces. Now it says we need to put on I think the red goes on top. So I'm looking at this picture. Yeah, arrange the stripe borders as shown, and then with right sides together, use a 1/4-inch seam, and then press well. Now, when it says press well, be very careful. Don't touch the vinyl. And remind me of that when I get up to do this, okay? I'm going to wiggle my iron so it'll be heated up when I'm ready to use it. But just remind me, don't touch the vinyl when I get up. Okay. So I got my foot controller. I'm going to use Q02 and move my needle over so I have my 1/4-inch. Not always. There are times when I prefer, somebody asked about cotton thread. I use cotton thread quite a lot just because I quilt a lot. But there are times when I definitely want to use polyester, okay? Because polyester thread is stronger than cotton thread. But for these little things like this, I have more colors in cotton than I do in polyester. All right, so I'm going to get my, looks like I even got my strips the right size. So I'm going to put some pins in here. Looks like I did pretty well getting them the right size. Sometimes I have trouble with the little strippies, getting them on the right side. So I'm just going to put a pin where the little junctions are, just so that they don't flip over on me. And I go to pin this together, and I'm putting the red at the top and the white at the bottom. These are so cute. And the August ones are really cute too. So today I was looking at the mug rugs. I think we're going to start mug rugs in October, and we'll do a mug rug every month. And I'm going to do the first mug rug CD, the first one, volume 1. I think. So we'll start with that one. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and pin the second one on too. And then they're both ready to be sewn on. Okay. Yeah, I have a lot of colors of the cotton thread, and I usually use cotton when I'm working with cotton fabrics, but it took me a long time to be able to find cotton thread I like, so I have a lot of polyester thread. Also, I like Mettler polyester thread, but I definitely use it when I'm wanting something to be strong. All right, get these on there. Sure, hopefully I got the red on this on the same side. I think this is different fabric than I had on the other one. I think I had the bicycles on the other one. All right, so there are our stripes. So now we're going to sew that on each side with a 1/4 inch seam. Okay, I got to move this so that it won't be in my way while I'm trying to sew. All right, so get these. I think I'll tie that off too with my tie off. Okay, and I'm going to very slowly go over those pins because I don't want those little junctions to flip over on me. And again, these are those little magic pins. They're super, super, super thin. I would never do this with any other pins. But they're super, super thin. I have trouble with those little junctions liking to pop up over and then they get a big bump in your seams. So I'm going to tie off on the other end here. Okay, turn it over and we'll do this side. This is going to be so cute. Yeah, so I'll have to go get another. I don't have any more pillow forms. So remember, I haven't said it for the last couple times, but the pillow forms, you know, I make my own out of muslin, and so the rectangular one, I cut 6 by 10 and take a 1/4 inch seam. Okay, and then for the square one, I cut it 8.5 by 8.5 and take a 1/4 inch seam all the way around. So you can certainly make your own. I just kind of ran out and I knew I was getting about done, so I'm not going to make a bunch more pillow forms. So I've been sending a set of these to my friend in Illinois. So she'll have some new ones to come this week since I've got the 2 July ones done now. So she'll get her July ones before the end of July. All right, so here are our little, oh, aren't those cute? Look at our little stripes. These had cherries on them. My other ones were bicycles, I think. Let's look. I think, these were bicycles. These had the little bicycles on them, but this one had cherries, and I think this one was the cherries too, the little white ones, but I think I still had enough of the cherries and the white too. All right, so I am going to go over and I'm going to press this, and I'm going to avoid my vinyl. So we need to press this flat so it's easier to sew together on the next step. Just be careful of your vinyl. It's harder on the one side, so just be careful. All right, there we go. So there is our top with the little stars and stripes. Isn't that cute? The stars and stripes on it. And but I said, and I highlighted it, do not iron directly on the vinyl. So be very careful. Don't even touch it, because if you touch it, it'll just melt it. So All right. So now we're ready to put the back on. We're going to put our back on, and I have my little red cherry fabric for that too. And I'm going to go ahead, and they always put theirs horizontal, but I usually do mine this way. So I'm always have to be different. So we're going to go ahead and make our envelope back. I've got these hemmed already on one of the long sides, and I'm going to go ahead and match up the raw edges here. And whoops, got to get some pins, don't I? So we're going to match up our raw edges here and put the hemmed edge in the inside just like we have been. Can't believe we've done almost all of these pillows. I've made a lot of little pillows. They're so cute though. I've made all of these twice, guys. Cut a lot of little kits too. All right, so we're gonna I'm gonna pin some of those little flaps down. Hopefully I won't flip them over on this seam either. All right, we're getting this one, then we'll do the other one. Oops, I think I have to go down this way too. And this is another one of those that we're going to sew over where the little overlap is again, a couple of times so that it doesn't break open when we go to put the pillow in. Okay, so I'm going to turn the raw edges together again. Right sides, raw edges. Okay, get these all pinned in here. Yeah, so I'll have to finish my second one. I'll show you where I put my little flowers and stuff on the other one. I didn't have time to make another pillow form today. And it's real hard for me to get them in the right place just laying it flat. So I normally like to put the pillow form in first, and then I do the embellishments on it, because then I know they're going to land in the right spot. Because sometimes they kind of, when they're flat, then you put it in and it's like, oh, that doesn't look good. So I always like to have the pillow form in first. What? All right, so I think, whoops, I got to get this one. So that's where that overlap is right here, okay, and right here. And so we're going to sew over that a couple times so that it stays strong. And we're just going to sew around our little envelope back here. So you can see what I'm doing. And I've got my Q02. So I'm going to start where that overlap is. Drop my needle down. I'm going to tie it off. And I'm just going to go forward slowly, and then I'm going to back up over it. That's the one thing I found. If I do that, then I don't break open all of these little pillows, because I was breaking open all my little pillows. Oops, sorry, I caught my finger on the pin. There we go. Get backed up over there. There we go. All right. I can take that out. All right. So now we can go a little faster. And around the corner. Turn the corner. I like these little envelope back pillows, so that's so easy to make backs instead of putting zippers and stuff in. Some people put zippers in them, and that's fine. I just don't like to put zippers in that well. That'd been a lot of zippers to put in if I had done all of these with zippers. Wow. Because I think I've made, we were talking about it last week. I think I've actually made, so there's 48 pillows. So we'll have made 48 pillows. Plus I had actually made another set of the first one. So there's another 8. So that would have been 56 pillows I've made. It's a lot of pillows. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, and this is where that junction is, where that overlap is. So I'm going to sew back over it. The other side, and then I'm going to sew over it again, and then so it's sort of like a triple stitch. I could switch to a triple stitch, but I just found that backing up over it worked just well. Okay, so we're ready to go around the rest of it here. The other corner. Pick up all my pins. So Cindy says she's making progress on them. Yeah, I mean they take a little time. Like I said, I've made a lot of pillows and they are fun to do, but they take a little time. You know what takes the longest is really the embellishments, because a lot of these had a lot of embellishments on them. Some of them more than others, but like this one took a little while because you had to do all those little flowers and everything. So, all right, we're just about around to the end. Yay, we made it. Okay. Get rid of my pins here. There we go. All right. So now we're going to do Grandma's little trick on the corners. I'm going to get my little Floriani turning tool out here too. So, you know, my normal, no, don't cut them off. Don't cut your corners off. Okay, so we're going to do Grandma's little, I'm going to take my first finger, put it in the corner, pull down to the seam allowance, push into the seam allowance, and hold the little corner you just made with your thumb and right side out. Do that on all four corners. Down to the seam allowance, down to the seam allowance, hold the corner, and push it out. Get those beautiful corners, and you don't have to worry about breaking them open. Okay, do the same thing here. And down, hold it, and then I'm going to turn it right side out. Okay. And there we go. Turn it right side out. Okay. So now I'm going to take my little Floriani turning tool, and I'm just going to finish them off, make sure they're nice and neat in the corners. And then I will press this again, but beware of that vinyl because it isn't very big. There we go. So there is the finished top. All the sewing is done and the embroidery is done. And then let me grab my other one here and I'll show you where I'm going to put, because I like to put the pillow form in then. Oh, since you've never done a pinwheel? Yeah, I know. You know, some of these, you know, if you are not used to piecing, you know, piecing, I'm not a real big piecer either. So those new the table toppers that we're going to do for Kimberbell Club for Shield Sewing Center is going to be fun. So, because there's a lot of piecing in there. So if you haven't pieced much, that would be a good class to take through the store. And then we'll make all those cuties. Okay, so here is then my finished top. Let's pull this back. We'll talk about where we're going to put these. So I just took my hot glue gun and I just kind of looked at the picture over here in the book to see where to put these. So like they had one little daisy kind of down here, and then they had a rose. You know, you can kind of see where the stems are. So they kind of put, you know, a flower on the stem over here, and then the pinwheel goes on the red straw stick. Okay. And then there's a stem right here for this rose. And then this rose was kind of in the middle of a stem here. And then there's a stem here that comes up here for the daisy. Okay. So you just have to I just kind of looked at the picture to see. So like this one comes off of this stem and this rose comes off of this rose. And then this one was sort of in the middle, and then this comes up and is on the straw. And then this daisy here was kind of on a stem there. So, okay. And I just hot glued those on then. But I like to put the pillow form in so that so I've got it the right shape before I start putting them on, because I never get them right otherwise. Okay. I made my bigger to match a pillow I had. Oh, cool. So who made theirs bigger? Oh, Nancy. Made yours bigger? Yeah, so it's really cute, isn't it? So I really enjoyed these a lot, the July ones. And then the August ones are actually really fun and cute to do too. So those are really, how much is Embroidery Club? Okay, so it's going to be Kimberbell Club for the a lot of people have been asking about this, and this will start in January, and this will be through the store. So what you do is you'll buy the book and the CD for the Kimberbell Cuties. There's a CD that has the embroidery files, and then the book that has all the instructions, and then there'll be a fee for the classes. So there'll be so much per month, and we haven't decided yet. It's going to start in January, so it's just going to be like a year-long thing, and you just pay a fee, a small fee for the education part of it, and then the rest of it would be just the book and the CD for the cuties. So, okay, so there's the pillow. Both July pillows are done. And then we're going to, then next month, we'll do the August ones. And we're going to start doing Home is Where the Haunt Is. So we're going to do some Halloween next month too. So, okay. So again, this is the square one. So this one would be a 8.5 by 8.5 inch, 2 pieces of muslin, and then a 1/4 inch seam to make your pillow form for this one. Okay. Now, somebody asked me, I can't think who it was it Jan maybe? Asked me for next week, we're going to make our card with the embossing for the scan and cut. So this is the card that we're going to make. Oop, I got a fly out here with me. So we're going to make this next week. Okay, so this is the card. Okay, so this is heat embossed. And she asked about what the heat embossing stuff needed to be. So let me show you the stuff. So and I made a list, but I on the post in the thing on the Facebook group. But let me actually show you what they look like. So you need, let me get these things. I got them back here. So here's the cards. This is the cards. I got a silver one and a gold one. Yeah, I can't wait for the Halloween card. The Halloween one I started today. That's what I was making a video of. Okay, and so these are the things that I told you need to have. So if you're going to try this, these are embossing pens. Okay, and you can get, I got these at Hobby Lobby. These are Ranger brand, and they're called Embossing pens. And they have one pack that has a black and a white one, and I'd probably recommend that one. And then they also had a pack with gray. The thing that's nice about the black and the white one, there's 2 in the gray pack. Those you can't use both of those. You can only use one of them. So I just bought it. I didn't realize they were going to be different. So the reason I bought it is you can see the gray and you can see the black better than you can see the white, which is clear. It's like ink. So it's kind of hard to see where you need to put your embossing powder. So, but if you get this set, you get the black one. Okay, so I got these at Hobby Lobby, and they're back where, like, usually where the stamps are. Okay, so these are called Embossing pens, and their Ranger is the brand if you're ordering them. I'm sure you can probably get them on the Joann's website too. Okay, and these were the gray ones, but I'd probably just tell you to buy the black and white set if you just want one set. Okay, and then I bought an extra one. I wanted to try it because I use this Versamark ink on my stamps when I do heat embossing. So they have a Versa marker is what it's called. So this is the marker that has that same ink in it. And I bought this one at Joann's, and it's called the Versa marker. So this is also a embossing marker or embossing pen. So this works also in the scan and cut. And the only thing that I've had a little trouble with, and just so you're aware when we get and we'll talk about it next week, the pens don't fit in this universal pen holder terribly well. So this is the universal pen holder. You need to have this, and don't get the small barreled one because none of them fit in that. So you want the regular universal pen holder. And then what I had to do with my Versa marker is I had to put just a little bit of tape. This one's bigger, so I put a little bit of tape on it, and it seemed like it held pretty well. These pens are really small, and so I found some of that um, that rubbery, like tape that they put on you when you have a blood draw. This seems to work pretty well around these because these pens are pretty small and they like to slip in here. So we'll talk about that next week. But these are the only pens I've been able to find that are the actual right stuff. It's a special kind of ink to use for embossing. So anyway, I would probably recommend the Ranger Emboss It pens. They came, the black and the white came together in one package. And then if you want to try the Versa marker, this one's a little bigger and it does stay in the holder a little bit better. And I got this one at Joann's with it's back like where the stamping stuff is. And then you'll need some embossing powder. And this is, I have a gold and a silver here. There's lots of colors. But this is also Ranger. I bought this at Hobby Lobby. Okay, so these are Ranger. This is silver and gold. And then they also have some with like glitter in it. Just be aware that the glitter gets all over. So I've been trying to stay away from the glitter. I did do a couple. They're very pretty. So like this is the glitter embossing powder. Cindy, that will be the right one because that's the one that they put with it is the universal pen holder. So that's the right one. If it came with the machine, that'll be the right one. So this one is the silver glitter, and so I have that one, and I really like it. It just gets just so you know, you're gonna have glitter everywhere. And then this one was the gold glitter, so you can see the glitter in there. So they're really pretty, but the glitter just gets everywhere. If you don't like glitter, try the ones that are non-glitter. This is the non-glitter embossing powders. And then you need an embossing heat gun. Okay, so this heat gun is a wow. I had one that I'd gotten at Hobby Lobby, and I haven't used it that much, and it already started to melt up here at the tip. So I'd recommend buying a decent heat gun because Lynn told me I have to get a better heat gun. So this is a wow. I got this on Hobby Lobby, or on Joann's.com. They might have them on Amazon too. And then there's a couple of other brands that are really good. Chandler is a really good brand. And then Sizzix makes a good heat tool. And they're all about, they're all under 30 bucks, 25, 30 bucks. The ones at Hobby Lobby that are in the store and the ones that are in Joann's are not the best. So just be careful if you buy those. You may not be able to use them too long. I had that experience that I used it a little bit and it melted at the tip. So just to warn you, but this is a good one. So I just got this wow. So that's, everybody wanted to see what I was talking about. So that's what a heat tool is. Okay. If you have never seen one. All right. And then so that's what you need for next week. We're going to do that and make some cards. I thought the cards turned out cute. So I did a little stamping too, and I have these little rhinestones to put some embellishment. I did a little stamping on the inside and put a little piece of paper on the back just to make them prettier. So I'll show you how to put it together, and then we'll do this too. This is done with a stamp, so you could draw that with your scanning if you want. I did it with a rubber stamp. So, but I'll show you how to do these. Put it together. So, all right. So that's what we're going to do next week. So hopefully that answered everybody's question that what they needed for the embossing. Okay. All right. So let me go ahead and put the camera back up here real quick, and I'll say goodnight to everyone. Thank you so much for coming and sewing along with me tonight. Let me get my microphone switched over. I appreciate you coming and sewing along with me tonight, and get your little pillows done and put pictures up on the group. I'm anxious to see everybody's pillows. Are you going to show your machine? Yes, I am going to. Yes, Cindy. I actually bought some new dies, and so we'll do that a little bit later in the fall. It'll probably be October. I don't think I can get it in September. But yes, I'm going to show you the machine that I have. I have an electric one. There's also hand crank ones. So I have one of each so I can show you. Okay. So next week we'll make a card. So we're going to start our Christmas in July. next week. So we'll make a card next week. And then the last week we'll do the little gingerbread man ornament in the software. So, okay. So thanks everybody. I hope you enjoyed the little pillow. I'm anxious to see yours. So I'll finish mine up tonight. Thanks everybody. Good night.